Okay?
Who are you watching for?
I'm
what
not
you
watching
for?
I am watching for the same person that when Mike Tomlin's defense takes the field, that he will be most concerned about. And that is one, Justin Jefferson. Here's what Mike Tomlin had to say about the second-year budding superstar Vikings wide receiver.
We got our hands full trying to minimize Jefferson and his talents, man. It's, been awesome watching him this morning and kind of getting familiar with specifically what it is that he does and how he does it. I've been familiar, obviously, with his exploits, but playing against someone and preparing to play for him is different. He's really challenging. He's an easy and fluid mover. He's got great vision. His run after is exceptional because of that vision. He's able to contort his body and adjust and make difficult catches seem easy.
Yeah.
I'm only certain about a couple of things going into tonight's game. One, going to come down to the last play because it's the Vikings. It's the 2021 Vikings are playing. Going to come down to the last play, one way or the other. That's one. Two, the Vikings are going to feed Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson is for damn sure going to eat tonight. No Adam Thielen to take away targets and, for that matter, attention, and no Joe Hayden. And I just want to get ahead of the conversation that I believe is going to be taking place on Twitter tonight and on TV tomorrow.
Look at that stat. Great stat.
Which is Justin Jefferson already a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL? And I may be late to this here party. This conversation may have been happening, especially in Minnesota, since earlier this year.
Man, he was that last year.
Well, he was the best. He was the most prolific. He was the most prolific rookie receiver in the NFL, in NFL history. I beg your pardon, with 1,400 yards last year. But just a couple more figures I want to throw at you real quick. A couple more stats just kind of blow your mind about this kid. The NFL record for most receiving yards by a player in his first 2 NFL seasons is 27.55, and that's held by Odell Beckham Jr. Okay? Randy Moss is second on that list with 2,726. Justin Jefferson has 2,609. So needless to say, by the end of the season, should he remain healthy, he will have the most yards in NFL history over a player's first 2 seasons. But wait, there's more. Just this run that he's been on lately. Okay? He has 577 receiving yards over his last 4 games. That's the highest total over a 4-game span by any player in Vikings history. And the Vikings have a long line, a long lineage, and a rich tradition of wide receivers. He's coming off of an 11-catch, 182-yard performance in a loss against the Lions. And in his last 4 games, he's got 143, 169, and 182 in 3 of those games.
Come on.
I mean, the dude is the truth. And, listen, it goes back to what we were talking about with top 5 quarterback. You get to 5 really fast. So, Cooper Kupp, who's the only guy that's got more receiving yards than Justin Jefferson this year. Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, who tweeted, hey, y'all need to be paying more attention than you already are to Justin Jefferson. Tyreek Hill, even though Tyreek Hill isn't putting forth his best performance this season, Tyreek Hill's body of work over the last several years, I think, keeps him in the top 5. So Kupp, Adams, Hill. DeAndre Hopkins, when healthy, I'm not going to disrespect DeAndre Hopkins. And Stephon Diggs, I think, especially after the season he had last year, is in the top 5 conversation. Others receiving votes, I think Keenan Allen is perpetually underrated, but I don't know about top 5. God, if Terry McLaurin never had a quarterback. Deebo Samuel is a star in the making. But, Michael, you said it, and you said it without hesitation. This kid's there. He's there. And I think tonight on national television, if you don't know, you will know after watching him go to work against the Steelers tonight.
This is what I don't understand. I'll tell you a couple of things. One, I would guess that a Vikings fan, given the option, knowing what you know now, would you take back Stephon Diggs, or did you stick with Justin Jefferson? I mean, the reason they got Justin Jefferson is they traded Stephon Diggs, and then they used one of those draft picks to get Justin Jefferson, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's true. I believe that's the case.
If you're a Vikings fan, who would you take, right? So that answers that question. I'd take Justin Jefferson over Stephon Diggs. And not
as nice as Stephon Diggs is, he, for whatever reason, and there were a variety of reasons, he wasn't this nice in Minnesota. He had his moments. He had his seasons.
Yeah,
he was really good in Minnesota.
He was pretty good though. He was pretty
good.
But
he really came into his own as Josh Allen's primary target, more so than I remember him being in Minnesota. And he was good in Minnesota. He wasn't what Justin Jefferson is, and certainly not as soon as Jefferson is this in Minnesota. So if you want to talk about Justin Jefferson's ceiling, it is definitely the roof.
Yeah. So I think Vikings fans would say, I like what we have. Appreciate you, Diggs. Nice little play against the Saints. But no. We'll take this. We'll take what we have right now. So that's one. But two, Mike, I always talk about Alabama and what they had at receiver.
Wide receiver you.
Yeah.
Wide receiver you.
Years, Alabama, you got Devontae Smith and Waddle, and then you had Judy
LSU
in there
takes
too.
a backseat to nobody.
And Ruggs. But my goodness, you had Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on the same team?
Well, and you saw what happened. And not to mention the quarterback. You saw what happened. But speaking
Joe Burrow, quarterback.
Speaking of the guys that have come out from Alabama, so, man, I just like to nerd out to the draft and looking back at the draft. My guy. Okay, the other day we talked about redraft and whether or not if it was draft being held. I'm surprised we disagreed on this. This was after the Chargers-Bengals game on Sunday. Justin Herbert is the number one pick. With all due respect to Joe Burrow, who I love. I think he's the number one pick. You think it's still Burrow. That's fine. But looking back at the draft, this is why the second round is where it's at. All right? Burrow hit. Chase Young hit. Okudah, big miss. Thomas, probably a miss. Tua, looks like it could be a hit. We know Herbert's a star. Derek Brown's good. Isaiah Simmons is good. C.J. Henderson already on the second team. Wills, good player. Becton, hurt but good player. Ruggs, no comment. Wirfs, really good player. Kinlaw, good player. Judy, hurt, we'll see. Terrell, CeeDee Lamb, star. Austin Jackson, Arnett, Caleb Monchason. This is where, Eagles fans, if you happen to be watching this show, go ahead and, you can move on to the next video, turn the channel, avert your eyes, cover your ears.
Look at this.
Because I know that the Eagles will not be watching tonight's game because they need no reminders that they took Jalen Reagor right before Justin Jefferson went. One of the most infamous picks in recent memory is Jalen Reagor, one pick ahead of Justin Jefferson in the 2020 NFL Draft. Murray, Ruiz, Ayuk, Jordan Love, most controversial, of course. Jordan Brooks, good pick. Patrick Queen, good pick. Isaiah Wilson down on the team. Okay, but this is where it really gets fun. Is the second round. This could nerd out with me for a second. Just nerd out with me, people.
Oh, yeah, listen.
This second round.
Listen, I'm
T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr. This is in order. Higgins, Pittman Jr., DeAndre Swift, Xavier McKinney, Kyle Duggar, okay? Yetur Gross-Matos, all right? Robert Hunt, Blacklock, Jonathan Taylor, Laviska Shenault, Cole Kmet, who, we'll see, Grant Delpit, Antoine Winfield Jr., Hamler. Look at this. Claypool at 49. Diggs at 51. At 51. Akers, 52. Hurts, 53. Epinesa, 54. Dobbins, 55. Raekwon Davis, 56. Van Jefferson, 57. A.J. Dillon, 62. The second round, dog. I can't even get my voice cracking. The second round is where it's at. It's all about the second round of the NFL draft, man. But no, so Eagles fans, I'm sure they're not trying to see Justin Jefferson, who I think, if my math was right, was the fifth receiver taken in the first round. Dude's well on his way. So you're watching to see not only the Steelers' present, but also potentially its future, which would still be its past and present in the form of Ben Roethlisberger, depending on how you feel.
Oh, see, that's it.
I hear you.
See, that's
I'm watching it for the future at the wide receiver position Which is Justin Jefferson. That's what I'm watching.
Oh, listen.
That's what I'm excited about tonight.
You just gave the appetizer to the Nerd Out Draft Talk, because we got Chris Sims on the show today. So all three of us can kind of get into, hey, what we thought at the time. Sims can, go back in the archives and tell us how he had the wide receiver rankings. How did he see Jefferson coming out, and has Jefferson exceeded his expectations? Oh, this is some good stuff. Look, I can talk about the draft all day long. As a matter of fact, I remember reading in the book, Bill Belichick breaking down the difference between first round and second round.
Reading in a book.
Yeah, I do. I did read it. Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
I don't know what he said, but I was always taught like the second round is the football players. The second round is the guys that all they did was put good film on tape in college, and for one reason or another, whether it's because of a position need or run-on quarterbacks, or as it relates to the players, somebody just overthought a player into the second round. Because nothing is more exciting. And I actually, I grew up watching the draft when it was Saturday and Sunday, and it was 12 rounds. And I used to spend my weekend watching the draft on Saturday and Sunday. At first, I didn't like moving round one into prime time, and I didn't like breaking it up. I'm like, damn, man, like it's only round one. Partly because way too many people want a greater draft after Thursday night, right?
Right.
But now I kind of like it because you get to sit on, and teams get to sit on the next day being like, damn, look who's still on the board. Like, how many projections had this guy going in the first round? Or this guy should have been a first rounder, but, teams decided that they had to go a different direction. Or somebody's workout blew them away. Or somebody shot up a draft board through the pre-draft process, which for some strange reason often overshadows what a guy actually did on the field in college.
Actually did.
So all
That's
those
right.
dudes that go in the second round and ball out, they'll probably get college
Too much
players.
overthinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and and it used to be, I don't know if it's still like this, but because there's so many fast guys in the league, but it used to be in the second round. But maybe those second rounders have gone to the first round and it's flipped. Because in the second round, you used to go for those fast guys, those fast wide receivers who haven't necessarily shown that they know how to be receivers. They're just fast. But now, especially if it's the Raiders, they take those guys in the first round. Whether it was Ruggs, no comment, as you said, Darius Haywood-Bay back in the day. They look at the speed. Yeah. Speed guys usually go in the first round when they used to go in the second. This is fascinating. It really is.
I'd be shocked if Justin Jefferson weren't trending tonight during this game. Justin Jefferson will be trending. Okay. He'll definitely be trending in Philadelphia.
That's the only point we disagree. Because they go shift coverage to him all night. He's going to be double teamed all night, and he's not going to have. He's not going to have much.
To quote Marco from Tripolia, good luck. Okay?
All right.
Good luck.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.